The United Kingdom's second-largest city has declared bankruptcy, prompting the cessation of all new spending except for essential services like protecting their vulnerable residents. Jayne Codnita files this report.
Birmingham, the UK's second-largest city, has plunged into financial turmoil after its city council announced its bankruptcy due to an equal pay settlement bill, potentially reaching £760 million or $956 million. The crisis, rooted in a 2012 Supreme Court ruling favoring predominantly female council employees, has forced the city to cease all non-essential spending. The equal pay settlement is estimated to be between £650 million and £760 million, or $816 to $956 million, with monthly liabilities increasing at a rate of £5 million to £14 million, or $6.3 million to $17.5 million. The Birmingham City Council conceded that it lacks the resources to cover this outstanding sum, prompting the imposition of strict spending controls. This means that all new spending, except for support to vulnerable individuals and statutory services, will be halted. Deputy Council Leader Sharon Thompson acknowledged long-standing issues, including the equal pay liability, and cited £1 billion or $1.25 billion reduction in funding by successive conservative governments as a contributing factor. Austerity measures may affect non-mandatory services like libraries, cultural projects, and infrastructure maintenance, raising concerns about the fate of the 2026 European Athletics Championships scheduled at Birmingham's Alexander Stadium. Meanwhile, the UK Prime Minister's office emphasized local councils' responsibility for managing budgets. Downing Street expressed concerns about governance arrangements and requested assurances from the council regarding taxpayer money's reasonable use. Local media estimate that at least 20 government bodies in the UK may go bankrupt over the next 2 years amidst a broader ongoing funding crisis. Reporting, this has been Jayne Codnita, Azimari News.
Leaders of the G20, meanwhile, have reportedly agreed to grant the African Union equal membership status to the European Union, signaling an expansion of the organization's membership during the upcoming summit. Alisa Torres has the details.
Leaders of the G20, a group comprising advanced economies, unanimously agreed to grant the African Union permanent membership status, putting it on par with the European Union within the organization. Various media reports say that the move to grant membership to the African Union garnered support from key nations, including Russia and Senegal, whose President Macky Sall, former African Union chair, argued that it rectifies an injustice. African nations collectively hold the 8th position in global GDP. However, Eba Kalondo, spokesperson for African Union Commission Chairman Moussa Faki, said the bloc has not yet received an invitation to the G20 summit. To recall, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who currently holds the G20 presidency, expressed that he wants AU to become a G20 member, which currently holds only one African country, that is South Africa. G20's move follows the expansion of the BRICS economic group of countries following a summit of the bloc held in Johannesburg last month. Reporting, this has been Alisa Torres, SMNI News.
Following weeks of devastating wildfires, streets have turned into rivers as a storm batters Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria this week. More of the report from Margaret Parcasio.
High waters have turned streets into rushing rivers as heavy rain and thunderstorms sweep Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria since the beginning of the week. Rivers that have overflown have also damaged bridges, while Storm Daniel triggered landslide in some areas. Due to this, reports say at least 14 people have died in the three said countries, and several remain missing. On Wednesday, a group of residents struggled to cross a street amid flash floods, hitting the Greek capital city of Athens. Footage shows 3 residents holding each other by hand as they cross the street surrounded by water. It is estimated that the equivalent of an entire autumn of rain fell in 24 hours northwest of Athens, causing the flooding. In recent weeks, Greece has been struggling with historic wildfires, including one which scored more than 81,000 hectares or 200,000 acres of land near Evros in what was the biggest wildfire ever in the European Union. Currently, more rain is expected in the area, leading to concerns of even worse flooding. Meanwhile, search and rescue efforts are still underway. Reporting, this is Margaret Percasio, SMNI News.
The ASEAN Summit has recently concluded, and among the top leaders invited to this event is India's Prime Minister. He conveyed that the 21st century is a century of Asia and reiterated his support for the region. Andres Santos tells us more.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the 20th ASEAN-India Summit hosted by Indonesia, wherein he emphasized the significance of the bloc and India's East policy, as well as its critical role in the Indo-Pacific Initiative. Modi said, quote, "The ASEAN group stands as the epicenter of growth in ASEAN affairs, valuing the inclusion of all voices. ASEAN has played a significant role in global development, reflecting the ideals of unity, shared destiny, and a common future. As we assume the Indian G20 presidency, we recognize that the 21st century is the century of Asia." The Indian Prime Minister also reiterated his country's strong support for ASEAN and highlighted the resilience of their cooperation in various sectors. Meanwhile, Indonesian President Joko Widodo said that while the cooperation between ASEAN and India has not yet yielded any substantial benefits for the people, it was important to enhance this partnership, particularly given the immense potential of the Indian Ocean. Widodo pointed out that the Indian Ocean's vast expanse connects 33 countries with a combined population of 2.9 billion people and contributes to 1/5 of the global GDP by 2025. The 43rd ASEAN Summit in Indonesia, the current chair of the ASEAN this year, includes leaders from Southeast Asian countries as well as non-ASEAN partners, which took place from September 5 to 7. Reporting, this is Andrea Santos, SMNI News.